Hello, this is Joe, the Panicked Monk, and welcome to Skyrim Unbound. This is not intended to be a detailed review of the mod, so if that's what you're looking for, if you stumbled upon this video by accident and that's what you're hoping it is not. So you probably will be greatly disappointed. If you plan on playing alongside us at Character Crusade, then, if you're unfamiliar with Skyrim Unbound, stick around and see how we plan to use this mod for our Character Crusade Unbound series. Without further ado, let's get started. So upon starting a new game, you will get this title screen, and that will be followed by a lovely view of Helgen. If you come to this point, you do in fact have Skyrim Unbound installed correctly, and it is taking over the beginning of the game. Any other mods that you have, as you can see, your MCMs will register and all that good stuff if you are in fact using SkyUI. If you're not using SkyUI, you will not get this same interface. It will be different, and I'm not going to go over that because I do use SkyUI and I don't know what those look like. So I just want to give a quick overview of the different settings. It's really simple, pretty much all the default. If you click this here, begin your adventure, it will launch the game. So that is the last thing you do. The character name, there are a bunch of them. I don't know why, quite honestly, because the only thing it does is replace the default prisoner with whatever you choose there. These are all the other options that you can choose if you wish to customize your start. I'm just kind of clicking over them, but we are not going to be selecting anything. Race menu, stay away from race menu. I have never clicked that because the warning at the bottom is enough for me to not want to try. I don't want anything bad happening, so I avoid that one, because you do start your character in the race menu once you click begin your adventure. So just leave all of that alone. Everything's random. It's either going to be random or nothing. So we are starting random, and we are going to let Skyrim Unbound determine where we start, what we're wearing, all that good stuff. The only exception is faction armor. Click faction armor, because if you are randomly put into a faction, this will allow the game, the mod, to give you armor appropriate to that faction. Now you may not. It all depends on if it selects it or not. But if you do not check that, it will not give you anything. Once you go through your default, once you go through and you just want to look at stuff, click faction armor, hit begin adventure, and we are now in the race menu. So I'm going to go over my character a little bit, and we're going to go straight over to race. And this is where I rolled a D10. I only rolled it once. We are saying that you can roll up to 3 times and pick the one you prefer out of those 3. For me, it didn't matter, so I just rolled once. I got a 5, which gives me an Imperial according to the list. I'm just going top down. Here on the presets, I also wanted to kind of start out at a random preset, so I am just going to see how many there are, and there are 9. So again, I'm going to roll a 10-sided, re-rolling 10 if that's what I get. As it turns out, I actually rolled a 1. So we are going to, I'm going to select the first preset. Now, I kind of like the look of this guy. He's got kind of a, actually he has kind of a swashbuckler look to him, so I'm going to stick with that preset and do very, very little with it. So I'm not going to change anything on his head or his face. I really do like the way it looks, just kind of as he is with the preset. Now I am going to change his hair. I am not real fond of the Imperial hairstyle, so I am going to change his hair, and I'm going to change his really bushy eyebrows. Now the eyes, I went through a little bit here, and I just kind of stuck with the brown. I think the brown looked best with the rest of his facial look, his features, so I just kept the standard default brown eyes. So there really is little to nothing that I did with this character other than hair and eyes. Everything else was really, it was, not eyes, but eyebrows. Everything else was really pretty random. So I'm just gonna look through the different hairstyles, and none of them except this one really seem to fit. See, now that really gives him kind of that piratey swashbuckler look, I think. So I want to look through a couple of the other ones here quick, but I think that's going to be the one. Yeah, none of these other ones really do much for me. Although the mohawk isn't bad, to be honest. Let's take a look here. Yeah, see, that actually fits pretty well too. I think I'm going to stick with the other one, but I do like the mohawk on this particular character, on the way his face is shaped, and that kind of wispy goatee beardy thing, whatever. Let's check out the front end of the hairstyles and see if there's anything there that grabs me. Not particularly. No, not really. I don't mind a complete bald look, but those first few weren't doing it, so we're going to go with our first reaction, and I think I like the dark color, so that is it. That's the man. Now, let's take care of them bushy eyebrows. And I think we're going to speed this up a little bit. Because yes, I did spend that much time on freaking eyebrows. There were two of them that were really similar, and I just couldn't decide which one, and this is what I ended up with. So, I think he looks pretty good. We can already get a sense of what he's going to have for equipment. So let's go ahead and name him. We're going to go with Vanistus Vasician. Van the man. Alright, let's start her up and see where we end up, shall we? March, Stormcloak Camp. Now this is super interesting and super cool, and I am really excited to start this dude, because as you can see, he is not only an Imperial, but an Imperial soldier, or so it appears. So why is he in this Stormcloak encampment? One quick mention: once you get to this point in the game, save your game right away. It is not saved until you do that. Just launching the game and ending up in a spot is not enough. If something happens and the game closes, you will lose your character. So save. At this point, I'm just going to go through and do some minor adjustments to some of my other mods. This is Sky Tweak, and I am going to center the character because I like having the character in the middle of the screen instead of off to the side. And I am going to adjust the camera height a bit. And let's start out by matching it with the Z value of the over-the-shoulder for combat. The other things I want to change are the field of view. I'm going to increase that to 80, 85, 80. Let's go with 80. For both first and third person. just kind of opens up the game a little bit from the character perspective. And then I'm going to adjust the arrows and take the suggested 0.7 value that is in the notes below, the little tips as you mouse over things. So we're going to change the bow and the arrow, or the bow and the arrow, the bolt and the arrow tilt, and move them down to the 0.7. And that is really about it that I want to do in Sky Tweak. I think the only other thing I will do is I'm going to change the landscape friction and increase it just a little bit so things don't slide around too much when you kill a wolf, for example. If it's on a hill and it ends up sliding all the way down. I mean, if it's steep enough, it'll still slide all the way down, but let's increase the friction just a touch. And I think that's about it. As you can see, you can do lots of stuff in Sky Tweak. I am not going to really change much of anything else. I could, but I don't know. It just isn't worth going through all the hassle at this point for some of these things. If you do have Sky Tweak and you do want to change a lot of this stuff, but you're not sure what it all means or what it all is, if memory serves me correctly, Dirty Weasel actually has a very nice tutorial or overview of Sky Tweak. Just go over to his channel and search it. What else do we need to play around with? As you can see, I have quite a few mods. Imaginator. I am going to go in Imaginator because I do not run ENBs. So I am going to tweak the visuals just a little bit. Really, in Imaginator, a little goes a long way. So, 0.1 might not seem like a real big value, but it will make a big difference. And if you overshoot it, it's gonna be just crazy. So, and I do prefer a little bit more contrast and a little bit more saturation. Just gives everything just a little more richer feel. So that's my preference. Face light, we are going to switch that so when it's dark, the face light will pop on so we can see our lovely jubbly character. And what else? Vivid weathers, no, wearable lanterns. Let's toggle that. We want to change that key to L for me. I always change it to L because it makes sense to me instead of that bracket. L for light, right? So that will toggle when I have a wearable lantern equipped. It'll toggle the light on and off. Anything else? Long conversation. So this will slow down time when you are stuck in a very long conversation. So I'm going to bump that down to even a little bit less. I believe the normal is 20, I think. I believe, yes, 20. 20 is the normal time. So it's like 1 minute of real time is 20 minutes of game time. I believe that's how that's calculated. And Hunterborn, we're going to start Hunterborn so that when we get into skinning wolves and all that good stuff, we can leverage Hunterborn. And if you're not aware, when you do any kind of alteration in Sky Tweak, you can go in and out of first and third person or draw a weapon, and that'll kind of shift the camera around and lock it into what you set it at. So that's why I drew my sword there, to get these values to lock in. And the height is just a little too much, so I'm going to bring that down to 10 and see what that does. Alright, well, I'm not sure if it did anything because I had already moved my camera down pretty low. So anyway, here we are, our Imperial Venistus. We'll save that and call it good. I look forward to talking more about this character, talking about yours, and hearing all about your adventures through Skyrim. Until then, safe journeys.